Hey!
Alright, this is gonna be an English version today. First English video on my YouTube channel.
New ground.
Yes. We're actually gonna talk about, so the 2020 season for the Open is over. So we want to talk about just analyzing and how to approach your next training cycle, a year of training, I guess, right?
Right. Especially for those people that are, maybe they're a little bit more advanced, they're wondering where they should go next, right? How do I make a plan and how do I decide what I want to focus on for the next year, all right? The great thing about the Open is you have 5 tests, basically, that you just tested yourself with. Not a complete, I would say, accurate representation of fitness, especially as they test the games and everything.
Right.
But is a pretty good idea of where you're good and where you're bad, right? You get to compare to, you have so many data points because you have people from all over the planet doing the same workouts. You can really see where you fall and where your weaknesses are.
Right. Yeah, even like, your workout buddies, it's like, yeah, we have the same squat, but he beat me in this. Or, you got so many other workouts that it's like, wow, I was really bad at this one, but I killed Keith in this workout. So you have a lot of tests, a lot of data to look at and, see where you place, right? So if you place in like the top 10 in Japan for one workout and then top 100 for the next one, then it's like, okay, you're probably not very good at that workout.
Maybe you should focus on that one.
Yeah. So,
real quick, the first thing you should always do, especially after you do a competition, any competition, but particularly Open, because we do have all that data, right? You want to analyze your performance first, right? You can see where you did good and where you did bad, and then you can understand why you did that, right? Just knowing that, oh yeah, at 20.4, I did really poorly. That's not that helpful, right? I think it really comes down to, why did you do that poorly, right? Was it the heavy clean or was it the pistols? There's a lot of different types of athletes. For me, it would probably be more the pistol slowing me down and the strength would not be the issue. I would imagine. I didn't do the workout, but if I did, that's kind of where I would see it, right? So the programming for me versus for Geen, who just powered through the pistols and then got stomped on the way
275.
Right? The approach we have to take in order to get better at that workout has to be different, even though that, maybe the bottleneck might be pretty much the same place, right? Our placing might be very similar. And that's just because that workout did require a really high level, right? A single leg squat and also a really heavy clean. If that came out in a different test, right? If it was just a really heavy clean and jerk, maybe Geen would do a lot worse than me if I didn't have to do the pistols before. So you need to really understand which workouts you did poorly in, and then why and where you got kind of taken out of contention, I guess.
Right, because let's say for example, someone might have someone who can do like 160 kilo clean and jerk might have still got a bad score in 20.4, right? With all the jumping and then pistols and then high rep of clean and jerk. Even if you're really, really strong for one rep, maybe you're not very good at doing multiple reps with all that other chaos in there. So you gotta look at the whole workout and see what slowed you down, right?
And then how to train those things, we'll talk about more, but basically after you figure out maybe what was so bad, right? The next place to start is to create a plan, okay? So, okay, I did bad at this workout. Okay, what do I need to focus on in order to get better? Right? This is basically, how do you structure your weeks? How do you structure your months, your years, in order to improve over time? If you're just kind of guessing and you're just throwing out, I'm not very good at heavy workouts, and so I'm going to throw in a heavy workout once a week, that's probably not going to get you better at heavy workouts, right? You might need to take a bit more systematic approach. And so typically what we do is we choose, or I like to choose at least 1, 2, or 3 priorities, probably no more than that, to have in a certain cycle, right? And then have yourself focus on those one things. So for instance, if the clean and jerk, you were really fine with the clean, all of the pistols were not an issue for you, but your jerk just sucked, okay, well let's focus on the jerk on maybe Monday, right? And then focus on something else that you did poorly on. Maybe it was the snatches, you're not very good at high rep snatches, your forearms blew up, you were over gripping the bar, I don't know, whatever it might be, right? And that's your second priority. And then maybe choose another priority. And then you focus on those things for the next 5 weeks, right? It's really important, and I think a lot of CrossFitters forget this, that you can't improve everything all the time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's really big. There is so much that you need to improve in CrossFit that makes you think that, oh, okay, I have to do everything. But you gotta always, choose your priority first to improve that. Because, everyone needs to improve everything to a certain extent, but you need to choose your weaknesses to improve on first, right? So if that's the thing that's limiting you the most, then you're gonna have to focus on that. So like if the clean and jerk was heavy for me, I probably need to do heavier, work on heavy clean and jerks.
Right.
I probably don't need to practice pistols very much.
Right,
because I can do so many reps on them. It's like I probably shouldn't do so many in practice either.
Right. You're just overusing, right?
Right.
Like an overuse injury or something like
Right.
that. It's kind of, and you're going to see diminished returns too. The more you do something, the least you're going to see from all that effort.
Right.
So, if you had a workout that was, let's just say first in the world, and then you got 1,000th in the world, and then first in the world, well, you still gained, right, 1,005 points, which means you're not in the top 30 on the planet.
Right.
Right? If that's your goal, then you need to say, okay, which one of these things, and you might have to sacrifice one of those other things. You might have to get a 10th, and then hopefully a 50th or something,
right.
and then a 10th, and then maybe you're going to be in the top 30.
Right.
That's how you make improvement in the sport. You're not going to win every single workout.
Right.
So you can't expect to be the strongest guy and the fastest guy.
Right.
And even Frazier, I think I don't know if he's had any workouts in the top 10 yet.
I don't think so.
So
maybe, but I'm not quite sure.
he's a freak, so it's not
Right.
it's not the same. But
Right.
most people are not Frazier.
Right. You gotta look at your scores and compare them to what you can do, right?
Right. And then the next thing you need to think about is where you are in your season, and then kind of build it around that. Okay. So if the Open is just kind of a speed bump for you, and then you have 3 other competitions, maybe you're a sanctional level athlete, and you want to go to a different sanctional, then it might not be that good of an idea, especially if another sanctional, I think there's one in December coming up in like 3 weeks, to slow everything down, forget how to move fast, forget how to dig deep,
Right.
in order to kind of try to attack your weakness. It depends on who you are as an athlete.
Right.
But just keep this in mind, like what are you trying to compete for, right? And you might want to take the long-term approach and say, okay, I want to not go to any sanctionals for the next year in order so I can really improve that 1,000th place score and bring those other things maybe down even, but to become a more complete athlete.
Right. Yeah, it's if you want to do well in the next year's Open, which is a year ahead, the more competitions you place in there, it's going to affect your programming for that Open, right?
Right. Especially if you plan on doing well at that competition.
Right. So you can't really peak multiple times a year.
Right.
It's really stressful, and you probably can't work on your weaknesses very much if you do that. Right. So your scores in the Open might not improve that much compared to what you did, the year before.
Right. So even if the sanctionals has a qualification process. So you have to do the qualifier, and then you have to go to that place, and then you have to sit there for a week to get used to it, and it just takes a huge amount. You only have 52 weeks in a year. So you need to think about, where do I want to focus? If your focus is the Open, and maybe you're a national champion or something, then you need to think, okay, well, I want to go to the games. If you are like myself and I'm American, then you're kind of screwed because I'm not going to beat Frazier, right? Maybe sanctionals is where it's at, and it's like, okay, well, kind of disregard the Open because I know that's just a stressful time for me, and just think, okay, I need to focus on the qualifiers for the sanctionals. I need to focus on the sanctionals because that's where I enjoy my sport. It's really athlete dependent here. Okay? And then the next thing is just be smart and test and retest to see if you're making progress, right? You don't know unless you're getting, unless you're retesting to see, yeah, I am making progress, I'm on the right path. No coach can guarantee results for you, right? You can do a back squat program, you can do this, and that. That does not necessarily mean you're going to get better. Everybody is different. Everybody adapts and responds in different ways. So it's important that you make sure that you're going in the right direction, and you're not just doing this squat program for a whole year, and then it's like, oh God, I didn't make any progress. And you're gonna be so bummed when it comes down to 2021, and you're like, I still got stomped on the clean and jerks, right?
Right. Remember, your retest doesn't have to be a competition either, right? You can just do one of the workouts that you weren't very good at in the Open and see if you improve your score on that.
Right.
And let's say let's say you can do it at like 80% or something, and your score was pretty much the same as what you did 100% in the open, then you've already improved, right?
Right. Even doing the open at like game pace is very stressful on the body.
Right.
So sometimes I like to actually give my clients a test that's very similar, but not the exact same, so they don't have all these like emotion and this psychological kind of fear around the workout, right? They remember how bad it sucked to do that workout, and so they fail to push. Or you give them a fresh test and they're like, yeah, I can crush it, and I felt really good at the 125s. It's like, that's awesome. It might not be the exact same test, but it's pretty reflective of their ability to grow.
Right, because it pressures them to do better than what they did 3 months ago, right?
Right.
Okay, I have to hit these times.
Right.
And it's pretty stressful for sure.
And honestly, as a coach, like, you want them to hit it out of the park, right? You want to see success, and that's going to build confidence, and it's going to build, results in the future. If you keep on giving them tests and they keep on doing worse, they're going to perceive themselves as being a worse athlete, even if they're not maybe in a peaking phase or something. Right. So it's just important to understand where you are and just if you're improving or not. Okay?
Cool.
Then the last piece I have here is execute. This kind of comes down to the athlete and is a lot less about the coach, but it's important to create small goals each day to focus on. So for instance, let's say you're not very good at big sets of ring muscle ups, right? Maybe you have a workout that forces you to do just outside of your ability, right? That's a great chance for you to say, okay, I want to try to get these unbroken. Maybe you sacrifice a little bit of time in order to try to go unbroken on a workout. Again, to give yourself some confidence going into the next season. Yes, I'm getting better at these. Yes, I'm improving. A lot of people fail to do this, and it's like kind of, I say it all the time, but having intent in a workout can really dictate the response, right? If you are trying to get if you're trying to do speed back squats and you're moving really slow, then you're not going to get better at speed back squats. Right? So if you're trying to get better at big sets of muscle ups, then you need to kind of attack a workout, maybe take a chance, realize it's just training, right? And maybe attack the workout in a different way than you would to get an optimal score.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because the intent is huge, right? Depending on if you just write, 5 to 5, it's also the coach's job to prescribe what the intent is.
Right.
But as an athlete, you gotta be smart. If your goal is to be faster, don't move slow, right? If your goal is to, move for 20 minutes, don't burn out at 10 minutes, right?
Right.
So depending on what the goal is, you gotta try and focus on that. Even if you don't feel like it's okay to not max out every day, right? You don't have to feel terrible after a workout every single day, which I see a lot. Training shouldn't always be, to failure. It really shouldn't be.
More often not, shouldn't.
Right. Yeah. You have to recover from your training,
right?
To continue training.
Right.
So yeah. Just remember that you need those goals and the approach and the intent to be better.
Right. Okay. And then the last thing is just enjoy your training, right? And a huge part of improving is being consistent with your training.
Right.
If you're in the gym every single day and you have, I want to focus on doing, sets of 20 wall balls today. I want to not set my, I don't want to break on my toes bar. I don't want to set down the kettlebell. I want to, when that voice creeps into my head saying you're tired, I want to say no, I'm not, and that's when you choose to push. Those are things that make people better, right? No one can prescribe again the perfect program for you. It's about how you approach the program, right? The choices you make during the program daily. And then that also will dictate how much fun you're having with your program. Right. And then that'll also dictate how consistent you are. Nobody wants to do things that suck all the time.
Right.
So
yeah, to be consistent, it's gotta be fun, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, in training, you shouldn't have to stress yourself about it too much. I mean, the higher your goal is, it might be a little bit more stressful, but you gotta stay consistent to reach that goal. So that's when you need that plan, right? You say, oh, okay, I'm hitting this.
Right.
And then, someone said this. It might have been Charles Poliquin, but he said, success breeds confidence and confidence breeds success.
Right.
So if you're succeeding, it's okay, you're gaining that confidence, and then if you're confident, you're gonna gain more success. So it's like a cycle, right?
Right.
If you're always not seeing results, then that becomes pretty stressful. So.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ginjiro?
We got 47 weeks until the next open? 47 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's actually not very much, right? If you think about it. So 47 weeks of training is, if you look at that, it sounds like not very much, but.
And every day becomes so important. Then if you miss one day of your cycle, you miss one day of that back squat cycle, then you miss that chance to improve by 1-2%. Right, that week.
Yeah, the higher your goals are, the more important that 1% is going to be, right?
Right.
So that's when other factors come in, like food, sleep, right? If you went out partying and missed the training day, well, that's already a huge percentage of that going to games or not.
Right.
Like the top athletes in each country, they're all pretty close, right? Even in Japan, it's probably not, if you get lazy, your score might, you might not make it to games.
You're gonna see it. Right. You can't expect to go better if you're not putting in the work to get better.
Right.
So cool. Anyway,
okay.
First video in English ever.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So.
I feel much better.
We're gonna do a Japanese one.
And you're gonna see me fail.
He's not gonna talk. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, press like, leave a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe. See you.